Alright, now comes a heavy hitter. A game glazed by many, and I mean many, Sonic fans. A game that introduces the most popular character aside from Sonic, who honestly might even be more popular than Sonic. A game that is the direct sequel to the absolute 10 out of 10 that was Sonic Adventure. It's Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. I have extremely high expectations for this game, as I know it has a high reputation. I've seen Sonic Movie 3, so I have a good idea of what the story is, and I'm sure you all know the story as well. So we're just gonna skip the summary, and I'll just tell you that I loved it. I mean, I saw no real flaws with the story, personally, and honestly, at the end, it kind of had me in my feelings. We're just gonna go into my important parts. Starting with the hero side, the game kicks off with the Generations rep for this game in City Escape. Okay. We know what this level is. I mean, come on. If you're a Sonic fan, there's no shot you haven't at the very least heard the stage's theme. The boarding through the streets, maneuvering through rails and stairs, the banger music in your ears, the gun truck chasing you at the end. As far as intro levels go, this one is amongst the best. Easy thumbs up here. Next level is a mini boss thing against a gunman, and it's cool, I guess, but it's nothing to write home about. So we are now at the Wild Canyon, and I just have to get this out of the way now. I hate the treasure hunting missions. I don't care if y'all call it a skill issue, because that argument could never apply to me. I suck at every game that doesn't have a ball in it. If I'm bad at everything, then my enjoyment of the game should not be tethered to whether I'm good at it or not. I just don't have any interest in searching for Master Emerald shards. It is a Knuckles track though, so the music bangs automatically since my goat does not miss with his musical themes. Of all the treasure hunting missions, I think this one was one of the more tolerable ones, so it gets a meh. Our next boss fight has us piloting a mech as Tails and running and gunning Dr. Eggman's mech. I find this to be a little silly, but it's quick and simple, so I can't complain about it too much. This leads us to our third level, Prison Lane, which has us again running and gunning with Tails in a mech. This level felt very turn your brain off and just mindlessly shoot things, which I guess I don't really mind. I wish I had more to say about it, but that's genuinely all that level was to me. The music was good, and I swear I heard some live and learn in there, but overall I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't really like it. So, meh it is. Back to my favorite kind of level, we now take over as Sonic at Metal Harbor. Here we gain what is probably my favorite Sonic ability, the Lightspeed Dash. Any other Lightspeed Dashers in the comments? Let me know what your favorite Sonic ability is. Aside from that, the level was your pretty standard Sonic speed level, which translates to, it's absolutely peak and I'll never get tired of playing them. There was also another cool boarding section, but it felt too short. We'll be doing more boarding in a later game, so I guess we don't really have to worry about that. Metal Harbor is an easy W. We then cross paths with Shadow and get the iconic "I found you, faker." Also, can we talk about Shadow's delivery here? I've heard some of Kirk Thornton's Shadow, and while I do love his voice, Shadow's VA here does an amazing job of making him sound really cool.
You're comparing
He's so
yourself
clean.
to me? Huh. You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
Damn, he just cut him off. Anyways, I end up dying. I love his voice, I'm sorry. I tried lightspeed dashing to get some rings, but I guess the game had other plans. This fight was entertaining enough to get a W for me. Surprisingly, I got hit with back-to-back Sonic levels, and we only have 8 minutes to escape the Green Forest before it gets burned to ash. I can't express enough how much fun I have playing through these Sonic stages. This level does have these robot things that keep jump scaring me out of nowhere. Oh my, stop! Y'all see my instincts though, right? And the physics when running on the side of this wall thing can be a little wonky, but overall, I really like this one. The theme of the level does a really good job of invoking that sense of urgency that the game wants to convey, and I think it's awesome. This might be a great time to talk about how stupid the game's grading system is. I swear I'm zooming through these levels just to get a D here. Show me the money. That's gotta be at least a B.
Huh, no problem.
What? D? I still had like 5 minutes of extra time left. An E in Metal Harbor? E? What?
We're flying to Philadelphia.
Oh, hell no!
That's
Oh, hell no! No! This is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, look at my face as the next level plays. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, we're back to Knuckles and Pumpkin Hill. Once again, yes, the music slaps, I understand, but brother, I don't understand how anybody could like these levels. I mean, I get it. Everybody has different taste, and there's gonna be that one person in the comments that's telling me that this is literally the greatest thing ever and I suck for not liking it. But come on. 13 minutes of treasure hunting really does kill my vibe. The vibe of the level is really good, but I will never give these levels anything more than a meh. And that's what Pumpkin Hill gets. Tails is up in Mission Street, and this level sucks. At least that's what I thought at first. Okay, I kept dying over and over again, so maybe that has a little bit to do with why I hated it so much at first. But the more I died and the more I kept replaying the level actually showed me that this level was pretty fun. The first Tails level I felt was too straightforward since all I did was run and gun, but this level introduces some actual platforming, and it's surprisingly fresh since it's completely different to the Sonic gameplay I'm used to. Tails' movement became infinitely more fun once I got this jet engine glide thingy power up. Also, can we talk about how Tails is back to his natural habitat in this game? Just going around blowing shit up just like he did in his hit classic, Tails Adventure. Let me know in the comments if you played that one. I did. Anywho, back to the level. Oh yeah, the music. This level's theme is easily in my top 3 for this entire game. I think. I'll get back to y'all on that at the very end of the video. It sounds so familiar, yet I can't quite pinpoint where exactly I've heard it from. Maybe somebody in the comments can help me out. Maybe it's familiar because I did play all of the 90s Sonic games, and I did post a video about that, which you should go check out. The thumbnail for it is here, and maybe a link is here. I don't know if I know how to do that, but it'll be right here. I think that's all I have to say here, though. Easy W of 11. I'm sure you all know what's up. We are sadly back to Knuckles in the Aquatic Mine. I'll be honest, I used a guide to aid in the completion of this level. This level has water in it, and I'm just not dealing with that. I think these games have shown me that no matter what the level is, any level that I have to go underwater just gives me like a sense of anxiety that I just straight up cannot handle. I can't do it. If I hear a drowning theme, I'm just like, no, 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 no. And I just can't deal with that. I'm sure there are people that really do like this though, and I don't like continuing to complain about something I don't like. It's like beating up on a dead horse. Out of respect to those who do like it, we're just gonna call it an L and move on. The music though. Music is always banging. Now for another Tails level, but instead of his usual gameplay, we're now in a vehicle on Route 101 chasing down the president's limo. I don't know what this game is anymore. As simple as this level is, it was a really nice change of pace from the previous level. Just driving around with great music in your ear will never be a negative. W. Back-to-back Tails missions, and we are here at the hidden base. This is the first stage where I'm like really listening to the music, and it's just not doing anything for me. It does have the misfortune of being a desert-themed level, and usually when I think of desert, you know, the next word that follows up is boring. It's kind of what this level was. It wasn't not fun, but it also wasn't fun. It was just shooting platforms to make them small enough to be able to jump on. Very meh of a level. My screen is now blue, and that means it's an automatic W. Here in Pyramid Cave, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. This level has its own gimmick where you have to jump on the hourglass there to open the door, and that's all it needed to keep it fresh. I also gained the ability to bounce on it. I'm gonna have to flip the camera, but please show me where in the script where it says that. I also gained the ability to bounce. I'm sorry. I also gained the ability to bounce on it, which makes Sonic jump even higher, which is cool, I guess. Also, can we talk about how my glorious King Gamma from hit game Sonic Adventure got turned into a low-level grunt in this game? They turned him into a goon, and not the way that y'all be using it nowadays. I'm talking about like the goons from like Lego Batman. They did him so dirty. Anyways, this level has rails, good music, and a fun gimmick, and that is what we call a W. Did you miss Knuckles levels? Because I sure didn't, and yet we still continue to see them. We are in the Death Chamber, and the name is very fitting. It took me way too long to find the first key, and I'm really just over these. Good song, but you know what the level's rating is. Still playing as Knuckles, we head into a boss fight against this giant ghost called King Boom Boo. Don't forget the boom. Now honestly, this fight was fun at first. You had to hit the mini ghost to flip the hourglass, revealing the sun, forcing the ghost to hide in the shadows. When it's in the shadows, you want to use Knuckles' dig claws to attack it. Cool, right? Except it drags on for way too long. That's really my only issue with it, so it still gets a W. Also, can you all say hi to Fuecoco in the back? I don't want him to get lonely. Just type it in the comments. Just be like, hey Fuecoco, You're so much better than... What's the duck's name? From Gen 9 Pokemon? The duck. I literally have him somewhere. Yeah, he's right there. I know Meowscarada is cool. I like Meowscarada. Quaxley. You type in Fuecoco, you're so much better than Quaxley. For whatever reason, the game thought it was a good idea to give me back-to-back boss fights, this time as Sonic against the Egg Golem. Here you have to avoid the Golem's hands and climb up his back to attack the top of his head. Cool, right? Except, and correct me if I'm using the wrong term here, the depth perception is a box of booty flakes. I'm trying to circle around the Golem, but the game thinks I want to throw Sonic off the platform and into quicksand. Game, is that really what I want? I truly believe if the game controlled better here, this would be a W fight, but I gotta give it a meh. If it is a skill issue though, then that's on me. Then the level's a W, but I don't know. I don't know if it was me, I don't know if it was the game. It was probably me, so you know what? We're just gonna give it a W. It was probably me. We control Tails again in the internal engine, and spoilers, this is Tails' best level. The music playing gets you pumping, and there's a lot of platforming along with fighting enemies, as well as avoiding the gravity of space trying to suck me in. I actually do like that there are bombs that open space if you destroy them. It prevents you from just spamming attacks and forces you to think. There's also a section where Tails is free-falling with a bunch of lasers, and I completely forgot that you can just glide. Yeah, anyways. After more deaths than I can count, I finally beat the level and it gets a W. Now I thought the Death Chamber felt very last level-y for Knuckles, but apparently not. There's more. Meteor Herd is the final Knuckles level here, and honestly, maybe it's because I was genuinely locked in the entire time, but this level was actually tolerable. I was constantly thinking and calculating my moves. It felt very rewarding actually finding the shards. Now of course I only played it because I had to, so it's not getting a W. But this is getting an upper tier meh for me. So not meh, but not a W. So like somewhere in the middle. Middle would be meh. So somewhere, y'all get what I mean, all right? We fight another boss, and this time it's Rouge the Bat. I feel like there were times where I clearly hit her and the game just said nuh-uh. But for the most part, it was fine. It's also crazy that for whatever reason, she just has dark pulses in her back pocket. Like, is this an established move of hers? The fight was cool, so it gets a W, I guess. Wait, no. Can we talk about how Rouge the Bat, has wings, and I guess she just forgot that she could fly? She's falling to her death. Does she not realize that she is a bat? She can fly. Whatever. We're finally back as Sonic and we'll be with him for the rest of the story. Crazy Gadget has us in a similar stage as the previous Tails level, except now we have this really cool gimmick of changing the way that gravity works. I especially love this section with all the different colored platforms. It reminds me of those Bowser levels in Super Mario Galaxy, and that's one of, if not my favorite video game of all time, so that's obviously a W. Music is, again, good, and I really had to use my brain to traverse through the level. And by brain, I mean I had somebody in chat helping me out. This is a great level. Our last true level on the hero side has us in Final Rush. This level is all rails, and it's actually probably my favorite level of the entire game. The music is really intense, and these rails are free enough to let you do some wild shortcuts. Felt really good to find them by myself and see which routes worked for me and which ones didn't. Now I will say, this level does not function at all times. It feels like a buggy mess, however, it feels like a controlled buggy mess. Yeah, some movement didn't make sense, but in my experience at least, it was consistent for the most part. As of the time I'm making this video, I haven't seen a speedrun of this game yet, but this level is one I'm really looking forward to seeing the speedrun for. Easy W. After this, I have my final fight with Shadow, where he uses all the hacks he has. Bro can teleport, punch me off the stage, and even summon lightning. How is that fair? When I punch him off the stage, he just chaos controls himself out of there. But when I fall off the stage, I just gotta sit there and die. I just gotta sit there and take it like a good boy. He goes down eventually, and the hero side is complete. It Doesn't Matter starts playing, and as someone who voted this song tied for the best Sonic song to come from the 90s, I'm severely disappointed. It's not a bad version of the song, and I'd even say that it's a great song on its own, but it's just nowhere near as good. I feel like it lost its sauce, and Adventure 1's version easily clears it. It doesn't even feel like the same song to me anymore. Overall, I will say that although by this point, I already know I don't enjoy this game as much as Adventure 1, I definitely do see the appeal, and I see why the game is loved. I would even say I'm part of the group that loves it, but we still have another half of the game to get through, so we'll see if my feelings remain. We kick off the dark story with Dr. Eggman in Iron Gate, and he is the Tails counterpart for this story. I don't know if it's a placebo, but Eggman feels much faster than Tails did. This level was extremely short and felt very similar to Tails' first mission. It was the same environment and didn't have too much going on when it came to platforming. I already didn't care for the Tails level, so I would give this one an L, but it was short enough for it not to matter, so it just gets a meh. Our next level was a boss fight with Shadow, which is another rehash level as this is basically the same as Sonic's first boss fight, except this time, the gun pilot can shoot miniature spirit bombs. I'm just gonna settle for the same rating and move on. And of course, moving on means we now control Rouge in the dry lagoon. If Eggman mirrors Tails and Shadow mirrors Sonic, wanna take a wild guess as to who Rouge mirrors? Yeah, this level was rough because it took me 6 minutes to find out that you could ride this turtle and it took you to a different area. I then proceeded to spend another 10 minutes wandering around just to finally be told there was a second turtle I could actually ride. I get the game is called Sonic Adventure, but come on, this is too much adventure. Which actually, that may be why it's called Sonic Adventure 2. Am I cooking? This game doesn't help you at all, but whatever. Cool music, and by cool music, I mean unbelievably amazing music. But I didn't have fun with the level. We're back to Eggman at Sand Ocean, and just like the Tails' hidden base level, it's mostly boring. Actually, looking back on it, I prefer it to hidden base. I didn't have a jet engine power up here, but I felt like I was in a flow state making precise jumps and breaking stuff to drop the walls for me to walk on. It still gets a meh, but I think the level was different enough from hidden base. We are finally playing as Shadow in an actual stage, and let me just say this. Aside from me as like a kindergartner playing Sonic Heroes, I have yet to control Shadow in any of these games. Up to this point in our journey, he just straight up hasn't existed. And let me just say, wow. Again, I don't know if it's a placebo, but he just felt so smooth to control. It could just be the way he skates instead of runs, but man, this level was great. Radical Highway was a name I've seen before, and as an introductory stage for Shadow, I think it's pretty good. In the Egg Quarters, we're back as Rouge, sadly, and this level is the equivalent of the Death Chamber, except this time there's security? No, seriously, there's a robot that surveys the entire map, and if it sees you, it will attack you, which I actually kinda like. Aside from that, I think I just got used to these levels because this one didn't seem that bad. Who would have thought the more you played something, the more likely you are to like it? I did get told that I had, and I quote, good peace locations, so that could have played a factor, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Eggman is now at the Lost Colony, and this is comparable to Tails' best mission. I really like the setting since everything is so dark and eerie. I also finally got Eggman's jet engine, so this made his levels much more fun. I also think since I played these stages already with the other characters, I'm more accustomed to them, and in turn, it makes the level significantly easier. This one was very similar, but that's not a bad thing. It's a good level and I still liked it, so it's a W. Still controlling Eggman, we head to Weapons Bed. This one doesn't have a Tails counterpart since it'd be more comparable to Sonic's Metal Harbor. So this was a brand new experience, kinda. Having to jump platform to platform while getting jump scared by flying bots was actually a pretty fun time. There was even a moment where I straight up got chucked off the map by one of these things. There were also some cool spots where I had to glide far distances, which was neat. Overall, very fun level. It's boss time now, and we have to fight Tails. Let me just say, I've had some moments with Tails in the past.
I made you. I own you. You're nothing without me. Yup. I need y'all to tell me how to grab her right now. I don't know what's about to happen, but I know he's finna do it to me.
But this may be the worst of them all.
Oh my god, never mind. You got it, Tails, you got it. Tails, you got it. Tails, you got it. Tails, you got it. Tails, you... Oh my god. He just did it to me in ways I've never been done before.
He wombo comboed me off the ledge and I was finished. Aside from that, it was a pretty standard fight, so whatever. Now, just as I was enjoying myself, we get to Rouge and are back to treasure hunting. Except this time, I only have 5 minutes to find the Chaos Emeralds. What in the world were the devs thinking when they created this? It also doesn't help that Eggman constantly barks in my ear and adds on to the panic. Now, I was told that Emerald progress saves when you time out, so honestly, that's not even bad. But when I eventually timed out, yeah, turns out it doesn't save your Emerald progress. However, there is a little workaround. Instead of waiting for the timer to run out, if you just intentionally die, you get to keep your emerald. However, the timer doesn't reset. It just goes back to however much time you had left when you found the last emerald. The location of the emeralds also change every time you die. I got off to a pretty good run and found 2 emeralds in 2 minutes. I had 5 lives to work with to find the last one. Down to my very last life, I actually managed to get the luckiest emerald spawn ever, as it was literally right next to me. I would call this level an L, but the emotion that it got out of me, especially the crazy panic, actually constitutes to a W. After this, we get another repeat boss. The same bot Sonic and Shadow fought is back, but this time I have to fight as Rouge. They added walls on the side for her to climb on, but rehashing this same boss thrice is not it. This is an easy L. Shadow's up to the plate, and this is what I've been waiting for. I like the cast of Sonic, but I'm playing these games for the speed levels. I want to platform as speedsters, not mechs, and I definitely don't want to go around playing hide and seek with some emerald shards. We're in the white jungle, and I'm not sure why it's called this when there's more green than white. Is it because of the ash from the imminent explosion? I don't know, but this level is extremely similar to Sonic's Green Forest, which I mean, duh, narratively they're in the exact same place. I beat this level in under 3 minutes and actually got a B rank here, so my only complaint is that it was too short, but I mean, that may just be because I'm a little bit goated. Anyways, W level. Next is the same exact Sonic and Shadow fight, except we're Shadow this time. We can just skip this. We're now in for another Rouge mission, but she takes us to Route 280, which is a car level. I somehow died by clipping through a wall and thought I got a shortcut until I just kept going and going until I died. Also, can we talk about the shape of this vehicle? I get Rouge is supposed to be like a sexy bat or whatever, but like, giving her a wee-wee car is kind of hilarious. This was a nice level to wind down on. I ended up catching up to Tails, and we leave this level with a W. The game hit me with a beautiful surprise as we control Shadow on the Sky Rail. I think this is supposed to be a Pumpkin Hill rehash, except it's a speed level, so this feels like a completely new experience. This level has a lot of rails and it's fun to play with. It reminds me of Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes, which, fun fact, I bought Sonic Heroes when I was in high school to relive my childhood, and when I got to Rail Canyon, I genuinely just couldn't beat it. I rage quit that game and have not touched it since. I'll get my lick back when we get to Heroes, but for now, this level is a W. So remember how I had to fight the Egg Golem as Sonic and I hated the depth perception? Yeah, turns out we have to fight this thing again. Except not as Shadow. No, that would be too nice. I have to do this as Dr. Robotnik. And unlike with Sonic, where if I fell down, I could just get back up with no problem. If I fall here, I have to restart the whole fight because his mech isn't built for this. I just spam attacked him when I can, and his sand shell started to crack, revealing bombs in his chest. Destroying those dealt major damage, and it actually went by pretty fast. 53 seconds is pretty nice, so for that, you get a W, Dr. Eggman. In what should be our final treasure hunting level, we are in Mad Space, where the hints now lie to me and are read to me backwards. Long story short, I spent much longer on this level than I needed to, and my last emerald shard was in a very stupid location. Why are we putting it on the side of this random platform? Like, at least put it in the middle. Bye bye treasure hunt missions, we will not be missing you. And by we, I mean we, all of we, everybody. Right, comments? Y'all all agree with me, right? You do. And if you don't, that's cool, but just say you do, just, be part of the group. Join us. Our next boss is fighting Knuckles, but come on, we did this exact same fight already. This time I'm controlling Rouge, and it would have been really cool to use her Dark Pulse, but of course now that I'm controlling her, she forgets she can use it. And what's our final Eggman mission? We head through the Cosmic Wall. It was in this level where I learned that Eggman's jet engine isn't just a glider. He can actually propel himself up, which is really cool. It made for some really fun platforming, and I also got a protection armor power up, which gives Eggman more health. This level is pretty long compared to the rest of his levels, and honestly, that adds to why I think it's his best. Flying is fun, man. What can I say? And there was a lot of it here. There were also some chill sections where I basically rode a roller coaster ride and got to go pew pew on some clankers. W level. We get another mirror boss fight in Eggman vs Tails, so skip and we enter our final level of the Dark Story, Final Chase. Now I'll be honest, with the rails at the start of the level, I thought I was in for another classic. But then these gravity pillar things appeared and I'm mixed on them. I like the concept, but sometimes they just felt a little too wonky. Also, these fake chaos enemies kept doing it to me. It got to the point where I just decided it was best to ignore them. There was also a spring that refused to work for me for whatever reason, so I had to find an alternate path. This level was a lot and a little stressful, but y'all know that just makes it all the better for me. This was absolute cinema. We have our final repeat boss where we fight Sonic, except instead of me being able to use Chaos Control, Sonic is the one using it. So it was the exact same fight. And that does it for the Dark story. The end theme for this was actually pretty good. It's not a genre I've ever really heard, so it was cool. I will say, my first time hearing it, I wasn't really feeling it, but the more I heard it on my own time, I actually do really like it. Overall, I think I prefer the hero story to the dark side. Sonic and Shadow both had equally as fun levels, Knuckles and Rouge both had equally as not fun levels, and the Tails levels were more fun than the Eggman levels. However, 2 stories deep, and I can confidently say that I do love this game. I'll go more in detail comparing it to Adventure 1 a little later though, because for now, we still have the last episode to play. I expected this since Sonic Adventure 1 did the same thing, and since I already got spoiled on it since it was impossible to avoid it during the lead up to Sonic Movie 3. Except, I only saw the intro to the final mission of this story. I wasn't even aware that the last story was more than just that final mission. We start off with Canon's core as Tails. This one really sold the setting of urgency. Also, I've been meaning to ask, why the heck is Big the Cat in random places where you're falling to your death? I've noticed him multiple times throughout the story, and it just never gets addressed. Anyways, this mission and the next with Eggman were near identical, and they were both really fun to go through. I know I haven't been talking about the story, but heroes and villains teaming up to take down a greater evil is one of my favorite tropes in media, and I think it's done really well here. W pair of levels. Alright. At least this time I'm not hunting for treasure. This one was more of a puzzle and having to figure out what to press and where to go from there. This was actually a fun one to do and figure out. In the moment, I'm always dreading stuff like this, but it always feels really rewarding when I lock in and flex my brain power. I eventually figured out Rouge's puzzle, and next was Knuckles, and there was one big problem. There's water. And there's a lot of it. I also didn't bother to get the air necklace power up, so this was pretty much impossible. And no, I'm not saying it's impossible without it. I'm saying it's impossible for me to do it without it. Not at my skill level. It would have been real nice to know I needed this before I started this set of missions, but my Sonic rep thought it would be funnier if I just didn't know. So now I'm taking applications for a second Sonic rep. Jokes aside, I seriously contemplated finding a 100% save file for this game and just playing the later missions from the replay menu, but saw that it required much more work than I thought, so I ended up just sucking it up and going back to the Aquatic Mine to get the necklace. Thankfully, I didn't have to beat Aquatic Mine again. I just needed to grab the power up and I could quit out. Replaying the levels I just did in the last story wasn't even bad either. I already knew what I was doing, so I was back to Knuckles in a flash. With infinite breathing power underwater, my anxiety was completely gone, and figuring out this puzzle was just as fun as the Rouge one. Another set of really fun levels, and this last story is off to a great start. We now control Sonic, and of course controlling him was fire and all, but it honestly felt kinda weird controlling him and having Eggman give us instructions on how to proceed. It was a really short level, and we transitioned to Amy doing her best Naruto impression on Shadow as she talked no jutsu'd him into helping the main cast. We now control Shadow as he has to fight his older brother basically, as the Biolizard was the original ultimate life form. It took me a minute to figure out how to actually fight this thing, and some deaths felt completely unavoidable since I wasn't used to where the sand pit was, which was just instant death every time. The Biolizard finally goes down, except he used Chaos Control and transformed into the final hazard. Sonic and Shadow both use the power of the Chaos Emeralds, and we finally get to play as Super Sonic and Super Shadow. Now I've seen the intro to this level, but nothing more, and I'm so glad that that was the case. Going back and forth as Sonic and Shadow beating the brakes off this freak was such a surreal experience. I'm getting chills just talking about it now. And at the time of recording this is, I think, 4 months after I beat the game. Like, I knew this moment was coming, but actually playing and experiencing it was just something else. This makes me want more. I want more of these two teaming up, and I can't wait to see it in the future games. Also, supposedly Shadow just dies after this? Since when did that happen? If this Shadow dies, who the hell is the Shadow in the later games? This last story was fantastic, just like the entire game. It's sad that this is the last adventure game, as I really do like the way these games are played. I still need to watch some speedruns to see the movement being put to its full potential, but I know you can move crazy with it. Now that we got through all of both games, let's compare. Narratively speaking, I think I prefer the way SA2 handles the format. Instead of playing through each character's story individually, you play through different characters in chronological order. I like that more. However, the treasure hunting missions really were not for me and felt like such a slog to get through. It's funny because I don't remember hating these that much in Sonic Adventure 1. Like, yeah, I didn't love them, but I also didn't mind them. Tails gets a new gameplay style in this one, but I also think I prefer his gameplay in SA1. Yeah, it's similar to Sonic's, but I love Sonic's gameplay. Also, racing Sonic was really cool. And plus, Gamma's missions were kinda comparable in that game too. Separating the hero and dark side was also cool, but at the end of the day, the levels weren't too different. So I basically played most levels twice, which isn't a bad thing. OST wise, I very much prefer Adventure 1's themes as well. Adventure 2's aren't bad, actually I think they're really good, I just think Adventure 1's are better. Sonic's theme is the best example. The feelings I get from listening to his SA1 theme are not the same feelings I get from the SA2 version. They're the same lyrics, yet they feel like completely different songs. It's still a good song, but it doesn't move me at all. The only theme I prefer to SA2 compared to their SA1 counterpart is Eggman's theme. That slaps. Knuckles' theme, I'd argue, is probably the same. Yes, it's the same song, kind of, but they're so different, and I kind of like how strong Knuckles' theme is in SA2. Like, it just keeps coming at you. It feels very chaotic, but in the best way possible. They're two different vibes, but they're two different really good vibes. So I'm putting them at the same level. Tails' theme to me is a complete downgrade in SA2, as that was the other song that was tied for my favorite song in the 90s. And yeah, even if we talk about the actual themes played in the stages, I still vastly prefer the majority of Adventure 1's. However, if you personally prefer Sonic Adventure 2 to 1, I see it. Honestly, they're both really good games. I love them both. These are both amazing games, and I'm glad I finally got to experience them. Sonic Adventure 2 had high expectations to live up to, and it delivered. Originally, I gave Sonic Adventure 2 an 8. However, after letting it sit for all these months, I gotta say my rating changed. Sonic Adventure 2 gets a 10 from me.